Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Soul Talk, where we talk Star Citizen with members of the community. Today is August 19th. I don't even know what episode this is. We've done a few of these by now. How are you doing, Griffin?
Good. How are you? I'm doing good.
I'm doing well. Okay, so I'm not going insane, okay?
Go ahead.
Mr. Colossal, teacher, gamer, searching for a way to tap into the hidden strength that all teachers have. Did an accidental overdose of volatile quantum radiation interact with his unique body chemistry? And now, when Colossal goes angry or outraged, a startling metamorphosis occurs. The creature is driven by rage and pursued by the UEE. An accidental explosion supposedly took the life of Colossal. The UEE thinks the creature was responsible. A murder which Colossal can never prove he or the creature didn't commit. So he must let the world go on thinking that he is dead until he finds a way to control the raging spirit that dwells within him. Hi, Colossal.
Okay, so I have a couple comments. First off, is he around to hear that?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, because I left him over at Test Squadron, so I think he's over there or he's doing something. Secondly, I want to see if anybody in the chat knows where that's from. Because I know where it's from, but that's because I'm an old man. So, does anybody in chat know where that's from?
I mean, all I have to say is, don't make him angry. You wouldn't like him when he's angry.
No, see, don't give any giveaways. I'm curious to see. All right, okay, so Pops.
Face to face, new.
All right, so here's the deal, right? Pops is as old as us. He's the only cat in there who knew where that was from.
No, face to face knew too.
Fitz knew that because he's sitting next to Pops. Oh my God. Okay.
Maybe.
We're going to have a rule that says you have to bring the series up to at least the 90s.
Yeah, the thing is, they don't do narration as much in the 90s that they do in the 70s and 80s. That's the thing.
This is true. This is true.
I'll look to see if I can find anything.
This is true. No, I mean, I appreciate it. I just don't know if anybody in chat figures it out. That's all.
Well, I mean,
we're the old guys around here. We're the gray beards.
I mean, you heard what my new title is, right?
Oh, you got another title? What is this one now?
Look in the Twitch stream.
In the Twitch stream. I don't see it.
Oh, you don't see it? It's right in the middle. I'm a comedic legend now. Comedic legend.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, somebody posted that the other day. I couldn't believe it. That's all he needs to hear.
I showed it to a bunch of people. Face said validation for my joke. That's all I needed. Hey, Raymar.
Hey, Panther. Raymar. How are you, Panther? Okay.
So what's it like being in the presence of a comedic legend? I've always wanted to know.
I was with Bruce a few months ago. It's been a while since I was around him, so Well, anyway, do you want me to bring some people down here?
Yes, please.
All right, I can do that for you.
And I'm using a new webcam, but my VCam is messed up, so oh well. Hopefully it'll fix itself.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Big sigh.
What you sighing about?
I guess we got to deal with it tonight, right?
I guess so. Wait, what's wrong with your camera? Your video camera?
The XSplit is not. The VCam
it's not going through
working.
For some reason. Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha. Okay,
it's only a partial. If I wave my hand around, maybe that'll fix it. It'll work. It'll work out eventually.
I gotcha. Well, we've got Admiral Kusanagi, Fist to Face, and Pops in Space with us tonight.
Oh, hello.
Evening.
And we've got one more. Neurosis Puddle is here too. Let me bring him in.
Sweet.
And Neurosis is here as well.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
I need to
Nope.
adjust everyone input so they're not blasting everyone's ears. That's on my end, not
No problem.
theirs.
Well, while he's doing that, I'm going to say welcome to everybody. And for those of you who are here for the first time, this is our Star Citizen Community Talk Show where we invite people from the community to come into Discord and share their thoughts on the hottest and latest, well, usually the hottest and latest in Star Citizen. And we focus around doing Inside Star Citizen tonight as well. So we've got some good stuff for you guys tonight. We're pretty excited about. And hopefully we'll be able to jump into that. Fast Car, are you ready? You want me to keep going?
I'm ready. I was just going to start with the server messing.
Feel free.
All right, so I put the link in Twitch chat. So Clive Johnson says, yes, some bits and pieces have already made their way into 313 and 314.
Do me a favor.
Mostly...
Can we read the question at the top first? Because then some people don't know the context of what that was about.
Okay, go ahead.
If it's well, I don't have it. I thought you just scroll up to the top.
Okay, I'll bring it up.
Scroll all the way to the top. It's not far. It's only a little bit above that. This was a question that was asked on Spectrum about server meshing.
Okay, I got it. Has some of the pre-server meshing tech, like Entity Authority, made its way into the game yet? The thing is, when I click on the link, it went directly to his post, so I didn't see the stuff before that. So, yeah, if I had known that, I would have copied that. But that's his response. Yes, some bits and pieces have already made it into 313 and 314, mostly refactoring and some foundations up for the replication layer. I don't think they were mentioned in the patch notes, probably because they didn't change the player experience in any significant way. Releasing changes as soon as we're able allows us to stress test them in PTU and live and gather data on them on how they perform. Bigger, more tangible pieces will appear in future releases, but obviously I can't give any details that aren't already on the roadmap.
So how do you guys feel about that? Is that some good news for you that server meshing is slowly, incrementally being put into the game?
Absolutely.
Always.
Always.
Yeah. I know we went into the game the other day, and when it was in the PTU, excuse me, we 30K'd, came back the next day, and I spawned in my ship exactly the same ship in exactly the same place where we 30K'd at. Usually that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
So
there was something that happened a couple of weeks ago when we were in PTU. Colossal and I were in, and we were doing something, and you know how we were reading the data that was being fed from display info, and the data basically told us that the server was about to crash. And it did a weird pause for a second, like as if it was switching over, and then everything went back to normal, and it was fine. That was the first time we'd ever seen that. So I don't know if that is something that's tied into that or just something totally unrelated, but you know, usually those numbers are accurate. You can tell when the server is about to go. And
So
Colossal noted that when it happened because it was on his computer.
So Sig gave you a fresh server from one that was crashing, and it was seamless.
Yep, it was a slight pause, and then it went zoom, and everything switched over. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Maybe that was a fluke. I don't know, but yeah, that's basically what happened.
Yeah, it's a good thing, so it has to be a fluke, right?
313, there were times where, yeah, we would get like a crash, and then you would just reload into the game, and then you would be back where you were. I think it especially helped if you were in a group, because they'd be still doing stuff on like a planet or something, or in the ship, and you just end up back in the ship. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's been in for a little bit where it's just been kind of unpredictable. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, you know, but I think people are seeing it more consistent now as another form of persistence in some form. When something happens where somebody's client goes out, they come right back where they left off at. And in particular, I will agree with you, Admiral. Most times when I see it, it's when I'm in a group setting, someone's piloting or someone's in the ship and then they pop back in, you know. Yeah. And we got Kai who joined us as well. Good evening, Kai.
Hey, Kai. Hey, Kai.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Kai.
Hey.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Kai.
So let me ask you this then, guys. Do you think with this step of server meshing being brought in slowly, do you think that this is a good sign or positive sign that CIG is, you know, kind of, we know that there's been these big hurdles, right? The issue of the inventory and then also meshing. Do you think this is a good sign that they're kind of starting to beat this thing down finally?
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully. I'm hopeful. Put it that way.
Hmm.
I'm always optimistic about this game. You know, try to keep that positive outlook on it. You know, for me.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see what October brings. Like if they're able to just throw this under the radar and they didn't really talk about it, it's interesting to see what happens, at CitizenCon and to see, what they can throw out the door.
That's a great point, Admiral. I mean, to a certain degree, we all know that the clock is kind of ticking, right? CitizenCon is basically the time where CIG presents, not only to the community, but, to the gaming industry, where things are and where they're going. And obviously, it's always great when they are able to, announce some landmark, something that's taken place, not just announce a ship, but that's something with the technology and the vision is kind of come to fruition. So, yeah.
The ships are nice though.
Oh yeah, that's like the icing on the cake, right? That's like the icing on the cake. But yeah, it's good stuff.
I feel like it's a situation where they probably have had bits and pieces of this on their end that they've been testing for quite a while.
Mhm.
And now that it's like, okay, I think this is a very exciting and very cool sign, because I think that them starting to sneak it in
Mhm.
is the low key sort of way of saying, okay, we think we got this licked to a certain extent. Let's start to like stealth implement it without and that way it's no expectations, because if people don't even know that it's there,
Mhm.
really, like, I mean, yeah, you got this comment, but how many people actually like get into things enough to know this stuff? Like, not many people pick up the things that you guys pick up. So this is a situation of, we're going to implement it with no pressure, because if half of it works and half of it breaks, no one's going to notice the stuff except for the stuff that works. And then now that we've kind of got it, like, oh, we've tested it for 2 months, 3 months, and now we feel like, okay, now we can confidently say it's going to work. Now we're going to tout the hell out of it at SitCon, and everyone is going to watch, and it's stuff that we already know works.
Good point.
Mm.
And Malacrus, thank you for the follow. We appreciate
thank
that.
you.
Thanks for joining up with us. Good stuff.
I'm going to change
What is-
gears a bit because I should have started. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to know if Neurosis has a comment.
Okay.
That's kind of what I was thinking they were going to do, is they're going to sneak it in just so that they can kind of get the, I mean, it's been said.
Okay. I'm going to change gears because I should have started with this, but I messed up my notes, so I'm going to go to this now. But we just had a Bar Citizen on Saturday. Has everyone recovered from the Bar Citizen?
I'm still drunk.
Still got a slight hangover.
Still got a hangover with this. 5 days later.
Mm-hmm.
But did everyone have fun?
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah, good time.
Wonderful time.
It was a great time, just too short.
The man who can never stop talking about Star Citizen.
Mm.
He enjoys talking about Star Citizen.
How long you wanted to go, Krishnagi?
As long as people want to talk about it, well, they
What
could
did I
talk
tell
about
you?
their weekends, or they could talk about, going to Micro Tech or Micro Center even, and talk about, CPUs.
Micro
Or...
Center?
I
There's a
told
Micro
you.
Center near you.
Center.
Near you.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to say this. We were talking about this yesterday, me, Pops, and Jay, about Star Citizen. Star Citizen is the well, from what I've had, it's a game where people can talk for about a good day or two straight, without stop, right? Which is pretty much a good thing and a bad thing.
Hence why we make this show 2 hours.
Oh, try to make this show
We
2
tried
hours.
to. We tried to. Yeah, we tried to.
All right. So next up is the sneak peek. I had fun. The Griffin, you had any thoughts you want to give?
No, it's a good time.
Okay.
We're looking forward to October. We're just gonna try to figure out when in October, but there'll be one more coming up based around CitizenCon. So we'll let you guys
I kind of know. I have an idea when, but we haven't talked about it yet. You're right.
I just like the fact that Griff was able to stream live in his car while in Bar Citizen.
No,
no. A bunch of people did that last time. We had
Go
what's his
Mad.
real name?
Go Mad did it.
Go Mad,
did,
yeah.
and somebody else did last time. It was GoMap and
Mm.
somebody else that were in their vehicles. Yeah, but it's nice to know
Yeah.
that you're right, Admiral. It's nice to have the technology that you don't have to miss out. Normally, you'd have to say, "Well, guys, I gotta go." But yeah, it's nice that Discord
Nah,
lets us or
I'll be
allows
back in 2
us to-
hours.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
think
it
Go
was
Mad was
cool.
in a car chase, wasn't he?
I don't know. He was doing something that day.
Yeah, he
He
was
in a
at
Ford
Home
Bronco,
Depot,
right?
Home Depot or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was nice for Jared, Tyler, and Jake to stop by. We wanted to
That's
thank them for
always
that.
wonderful to have them. Always. Is there
Okay.
I'm sorry, I
No.
was just going to say basically interesting take on the last question that we had at the Bar Citizen. I love that one.
The last question. Oh, okay. You had to think about it. It's been a while. It's been 5 days. I can barely remember what I had for lunch. What did I have for lunch? Anyway.
No, Raytheon, I was not drunk driving. I was very sober when I was driving.
Oh, you had a girl. Congratulations, Abdi.
Oh,
You had a baby
Abdi.
girl.
Yeah, for those of you all don't know, Abdi told us that they were expecting and they had their baby. That's so awesome. Congratulations from all of us, man.
Do you have
Yeah.
the same birthday? What day was she born?
I think because it was scheduled for Saturday, right? That was the day that they
Saturday
were
was his
shooting
birthday.
for, right?
Right.
Yeah, Abdi, let us know what day it was when you get a chance, okay?
All right.
Oh, the
She was
next
born
day.
the next day.
Okay.
She's a rebel.
Yeah, she's a rebel. Okay.
All right, so this week we have the sneak peek. I'm put the link in Twitch chat, but it says stuff needs fixing, but nothing broke. So what do you take from that screenshot and the text that goes along with it, starting with Kusanagi?
Well, I mean, I think the idea is that you can upgrade your components on your engine. I think that, I mean, of course, this might be the M50, so it could be switchable. I know that ship's supposed to be switchable. I'm not sure why Cryastro's there right now, but yeah, I'm going with that. Maybe switching out components on a component you already have. Because subcomponents aren't supposed to be a thing. I know subcomponents supposed to be a thing for, say, like a power plant, so maybe they're starting to figure that out. I don't know.
Face to face?
Are they?
Oh, what was that?
No, it was just me. I just thought. Are they working now? I thought they had basically stopped working the component.
No, I thought they were working. Unless there's a
okay.
bug. Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
whole
that's
point of the gold standard for the Gladius and the other sets that are coming online, right?
Okay.
So they talked about that in the ISU. We'll get to that. Face to face, you have any thoughts?
I kind of have the Echo Admiral here. You know, about the being able to tweak your components, because I'm looking at the caption here, stuff needs fixing, but nothing's broke. You know, makes me think tweaking stuff. You know, tuning up
Oh,
your
you mean like
engine.
modding? Yeah.
Right, tweaking it. Maybe I'm not a mechanic, but going in, maybe I don't know,
Wait,
putting things on it to
I thought you were an
make
everyman. I
things
thought you could do something a little
jack
of
of all
everything.
trades. Nah, my name is not Jack.
All right. So Kaizen, what are your thoughts?
Two main possibilities in my head. The first is with 3.14, they did a massive sort of rebalance reset where they brought a lot of the components sort of to a baseline. And I think that they've said that they're going to be tweaking various aspects of different components and different ships and different whatever going forward from here. So it could be them saying we're tinkering with that. The other thing, and put on a tinfoil hat because I'm about to go deep in the weeds here. What if, so we all sort of suspect that we're at SitCon, we're going to see sort of a refresh or an update or a more in-depth look at the jump into Pyro and possibly Nyx and whatnot. We have the whole engine components, like a loop or a lockdown of the mechanics of the engine components for your hydrogen fuel for your, you know, standard ship engine. We have a mechanic system lockdown for your what do you call it? Your fast jump. I forget what it's called. Quantum in this game.
Quantum.
And your quantum fuel. Have we really looked into the details of how jump drives are supposed to theoretically work in the future? I mean, presumably when you jump, either A, it's just going to be you're accessing a gate and you're jumping there, or if there is a separate jump drive, that's a thing. Since we've never jumped from one system to another, that's a whole system that they're going to have to work out how all of that works.
Jump drive. There's a jump drive. They have to
So
navigate the tunnel.
If there is a jump drive, let's look at the fact that since none of us have ever jumped, as far as we know at this point, that's just a slug. That's just a placeholder. If they're going to actually show this off coming up soon, and it's going to be a viable thing in the not too distant future, that's a thing they're going to have to tinker with. And who's to say that an MSR jump drive isn't sort of vastly less sort of fuel efficient than, say, an Orion's jump drive or a Starfarer or whatever.
Wait, I'm a little confused with the jump drive. It's like a Stargate thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't they cycle the gate up, and you have to go through the correct size gate, and some gates do move, which is beneficial to exploration orgs because they have to recalibrate the location of the jump location.
Wait a minute, Christian. I don't think the gates themselves jump, but there are artificial, man-made gates that's made by the UEE, and then there's natural jumps that people can explore and find. So the ones that people can explore and find, those move around. But I think the ones that are made by UEE, they're stationary.
So my understanding, and it's limited, I could be wrong, and please someone correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is that those gates and the wormholes themselves, the ones that are natural occurring without the gates, those just merely sort of open the portal from one place to another and facilitate the possibility of jumping, but you still have a jump drive in your ship that you have to use to sort of, like, think of it this way, like the portal is the stream, but the jump drive is the paddle. You still have to paddle once you get into the stream, I think. And I could be wrong.
I can jump in here.
Go ahead.
I think that Kai might be right, and I'll tell you why. When the carrot came out, one of the issues was that the Pisces did not have a jump drive. People commented about that. And the concern was that the reason why people wanted it to have it was because if they took the carrot to do exploration and they wanted to send the Pisces through so that it could go check something and come back, that ability would be there. And I can't remember what it was. Is there somebody in chat who has good information on this? Let me know. But I remember that being a big discussion when the Carrack and the Pisces came out. So I don't know if anybody can comment on that.
You're saying a 315? Is it a 315P? I think it's right Origin 315P. That's the exploration ship. So you're saying that can traverse a natural jump gate?
Yes, but the Pisces couldn't.
Okay.
I thought that's what I remember.
That sounds about right, but I don't know the exact details myself.
So
yeah, jump gates. Raymar just hit on a point. Jump gates make holes more stable, essentially, in theory. Now the CIG could, they could create whatever they want to, but the jump gates, as you mentioned, as Fastcart mentioned, are the man-made phenomenon. And then there will be the one CIG has mentioned that will appear. They may be there for weeks, they may be there for months, they may be longer. Then again, they may be there just for a few days. And the risk that you take, you could go through it, and maybe it's a great shortcut to get somewhere. Then again, you may go through it, and then once you get on the other side, if it disappears, then maybe it's going to take you light years or several jumps to get back.
Or the one could disappear and one could reappear, and you find the other one and take you into Van Joel space.
Which
Yeah.
would be pretty funky.
So, like I said, I know this is way tinfoil hat, but it's just looking at
That's
the
a good
picture,
idea.
looking at somebody tinkering. It's like, what if that's their way of saying, "Hey guys, we're starting to figure out this mechanic because this is a thing that we're going to be introducing in the future."
Okay. And Raytheon says there is a jump drive info on my ship loadout on the Moby Glass. And you're talking about on the Pisces, right? Raytheon, is that what you're saying? And Raymar says, yeah, you need a jump drive to actually jump.
Neurosis, any thoughts?
I hadn't actually. I looked into it because I was wondering how that play was going to work, but I never. I don't know. It all was a little bit iffy.
Captain No Pants says it was a big discussion. I remember that CIG finally came back saying that the Pisces didn't come with one stock, but it could be fitted with one.
Okay.
Hey, before we jump off the screen, Astro? Is that?
That's what my answer was going to be. You just hit what I was going to say. That was one of the clues in there, is that it mentions Astro service. For those of you who weren't around back in the earlier days, we actually had a repair refueling station that was just off Crusader. We used to go there to refuel. And do repairs. It was about 12 pads. It was a really big facility, and it had fuel tanks and everything. It wasn't working, but that's what it was supposed to be. CryAstro was taken out. CryAstro Services, you'll see the name around every once in a while in game now, but there was actually a facility that we used to go to, and to me, I thought this was maybe a hint to the fact that they're going to be bringing that back, because that was where you basically do your service for your ships and stuff.
I hope they bring back new robots that come and repair and fuel your ship.
I love that. Yeah, if you guys you ever seen the videos, there were drones that would come out when you did repairs. They would 4 drones would fly over your ship, and these beams would come out, and your ship would get fixed and everything. It was a very cool effect.
Captain No Pants posted a Q&A, which posted still. Neither variant comes equipped with a jump module, the device that attaches to the quantum drive to form a jump drive as standard. However, both can be equipped with one.
Thank you, Captain No Pants. So that does clarify that the jump drive is distinguished from the quantum drive. Quantum gets you across systems, but the jump drive gets you through wormholes.
Now, interestingly, do you guys think that the jump drive is going to have its own source of fuel, or it's going to be a thing that like recharges over time, or uses quantum fuel, or uses hydrogen fuel?
Good question.
Exactly. I don't know. We'll see. That to be decided. To be seen. Pops. So my question to you: if you forget to equip a jump drive to your Pisces and you go into a gate, what do you think would happen?
You stuck? You out of luck?
You have to respawn. That's what respawn. Or you gotta
rescue.
You gotta find somebody to rescue. Okay.
Yeah, probably a rescue effort.
Panther says it's going to use unobtainium.
Yeah,
I get that reference.
dark matter.
Dark matter. Oh, red matter too.
Oh,
All
God.
of them.
Okay.
All right. So next up we have the new player's guide. I'll put that in Twitch chat. Griffin, you want to go over that?
Okay, let me pull it up here. Excuse me 1 second here. As you guys know, this week the free fly is going to be starting, and CIG put out a page now for a new player guide. They had talked about this once before, But basically, they want to be able to tell people when they come into the game to try it out, how do they get around, how do they get into their ship, things of that nature. They have this thing called a guide system. And what they say is the best way to learn the tricks in the trade is from other citizens who've already mastered them. And the guide system gives you an easy way to find knowledgeable members of the community to help you get started and hone your skills in a particular profession. And basically there's a whole process of when you log in and how you can get a guide. But we a few weeks back we were talking about things we left behind, and one of them was we showed that at one point CIG had an actual in-game tutorial, and that was to kind of get you acquainted with how to turn on your ship, basically how to do basic maneuvers such as strafing. You basically followed after another pilot who was more advanced. You could learn how to do certain maneuvers, but they took it out, and it's missed. But also because of so much changing in the game, it became irrelevant. A few years later, CIG put out, and they still have this. There's a series of about 7 videos that are on their website that basically walk you through how to bring out your ship, how to use the quantum drive, how to use the map. But if you don't know that that's there, it's easy to miss. But it's actually a pretty good tutorial, but it's very basic.
Are those still up to date? I don't think so. Maybe some different.
In general, I mean, in general, they are. The basic commands are. But I think what CIG is also doing here now is giving incentive for players to help new people. And there's also some incentives when you help folks out in the game. You get a badge and some other stuff. I forget what else comes along with it.
Yeah, I was actually surprised when they put out the tutorial in the game, because I needed it. I wanted it, but I was thinking, like, isn't this going to be a pain to update for like so many years and going down the line? And I was right. It became unfeasible for them to continue to update with every change that happens in the game. All right, so let's go in reverse order. Pop, what do you think of the free flyer or the new player guide?
Can I ask another question instead of that one, Fast Card? Because most of these guys are veterans, and maybe it'd be kind of cool to see what do they think about that. Do you think it's easier to learn from, being with other players? Have you learned more about flying and utilizing shortcuts and things in the game, or was it easier for you from watching videos, or was it just you figured it out on your own? Maybe I'd be kind of curious.
When we first came in on our free fly a few years back, it was very difficult getting out because you spawned in the PO, and for us it was difficult. We couldn't figure. I think we knocked around for about 2 hours, really trying to get a hang of it. Didn't know where to go, what to do, or any of that. And I think we came out the game, and then we tried maybe a few days later. It was frustrating, and we just kind of left it at that. And
did you guys just kind of figure it out on your own, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So nobody helped you that was already in game,
No.
and you guys didn't see like any of the tutorial videos or nothing like that.
No, nothing.
Okay. Neurosis, what about you?
When I first started, it was rough, but I eventually met up with a group of people, and I learned almost everything in game from people in game, and it helped me considerably. And that's kind of what I've been doing. Is I've been like taking people under my wings. I've like at least 3 people in the past week. It's like some people have what I call Star Citizen rage in the game, and you're just like, no, just do this. You walk them through, and it's like, and that's basically it made it much more playable and much more enjoyable. And that's kind of where I've been since. It's like I've been trying to, return the favor.
Cool.
And I actually never did any of the tutorials.
Okay.
When was it? That was like 2015, 2016, or later?
Yeah, it was a little later than that. Maybe 2017, 18 when they put those videos out. It's like
No. I mean the actual in-game tutorial. Because
that was early. That was real early. Yeah, that was back in like 2014 or 15. Yeah, I think. I can't think of that guy's name, but yeah. Kai, what about you? Did you figure it out on your own, or did you have somebody help you out, or what?
So I want to give a shout out to Nino Arasaka in the Twitch chat, who just said, "Hey, I just started playing Star Citizen last week, and I just went on YouTube and found stuff." That's kind of similar to what I did. I just went on YouTube, looked some stuff up. I think that I totally get that a in-game sort of tutorial service or whatever is kind of rough to keep track of with all of the changes and stuff. And I think that they should just slap a thing on the RSI website that says, "Here's a link to Soul Citizen. Watch and you'll learn."
Gee, thanks a lot. CC
Okay,
Creator,
detect
thank
in the
you.
mail, detect in the mail.
Yeah, really. CC Creator, thank you for the resubscribe. Atlas Galacticus, thank you for the follow. And Nino, welcome to Star Citizen, and thanks for the follow as well. Okay, Fist, I take it you were the same with Pops. You said y'all had to figure it out, so he already spoke on your behalf. Admiral, what about you?
No,
Uh,
Oh,
not
Fist said
really.
no.
Because
Go ahead,
no.
Fist.
Okay.
Pops forgot some
Uh-oh.
details. in
What did
there.
he forget?
We did actually go on to YouTube and did look up a video on how to make money.
Oh
And,
yeah, but that's about making money. I'm talking about
well,
the
no,
flight
well,
mechanics and stuff.
well, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. Because when
Oh.
we first got into it, it was hard, it was difficult. But then when we said, all right, well, let's give this thing a try again, and we tried to figure out how to make money, and the guy didn't explain. He went through the whole shifting, how to turn this on, how to turn that on, and where to go. So, because I mean, when you get into the game, like you said, PO, you're in the land of the lost. You're like, okay, so what do I do?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're not
absolutely.
kidding.
Okay. Admiral?
I think I did a little bit of that, but for, from being at Porto originally, when I got my ship, I think I just kind of like checked out the mapping of the keyboards, because I'm a keyboard and mouse person, at least until maybe at release I'll probably go HOTAS or something like that, but and I just try to figure it out old school, like a VCR. And even to this day, I power up with the U key first, and then the I key, because I want to power up the systems, and then I turn the engine on afterwards. I'm not role play, but I think it kind of makes sense. And but yeah, I do remember looking at some YouTube videos, but I don't think it was actually how to pilot the ship. It was kind of like you go outside of the airlock and you look around at the rings spinning for the first time. You're like, oh my god, what am I getting myself into? This is amazing. And I just did the same thing. I fell over myself a few times, but yeah, YouTube definitely helped out in certain things.
Okay. And fast cards from the old school with me, we didn't have any tutorials back in the day. We were there when they implemented stuff, so it was really
YouTube was a tutorial.
No, when it first got out, there were no YouTube videos. When we first went into
Well,
space.
I mean, no, I'm 2014. By the time I joined, there were YouTube videos. You were
Oh, really?
there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Oh
you
my
OG.
God.
'Cause
I thought you came in then.
I had gray-headed gamer.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Per Capita Live, thank you for the raid. We appreciate
Thank you for the
that.
raid.
And
Hi, everybody.
Welcome. Thank you guys for joining us. Okay. Wow. Yeah, when I came in, it was when we first went into we were going into Arena Commander. But then, of course, when we got PO, there became all these new things like landing gear and things like that. And before we had air traffic control, there was no air traffic control. It was kind of a real frontier kind of thing in the early days. But
Griffin,
eventually,
you're using the wrong voice for this. You're supposed to say, back in my day.
back in the way back when. Yeah, I know. But yeah, it's a lot better now. Yeah, Raymar, forgetting the helmet. Yeah, some of you
I still
don't
do
know.
that sometimes.
When they first put us in Port O, you didn't have on a flight suit, and you used to have to change. There was those. You guys remember those yellow lockers that you see? You used to have to go to that locker to put on your flight suit if you didn't put it on in your hab. And I can't tell you how many people would go into the decompression chamber and the gate, I should say, airlock, I should say, and just die right there. You wouldn't even make it out of the door, and it was a constant thing all the time. So eventually they made it so that when you woke up, you at least had your helmet on. But back in the day, people died all the time. So.
Every time you're right, per capita. Zaylen, thank you for the 5 gift subs. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Zaylen. Thank you. All righty, that's the new player guide.
I'm gonna go to the free fly page next. So
I just want to ask, does anyone use the guide system? since you had it on the screen?
I've never done it, and and I'm one of those people that doesn't mind teaching people, but I don't know, have any of you guys ever had gotten somebody called you in for the guide system to teach them?
One time.
One time?
I think we're all using guide system. It's just that we don't, you go to the website. We go to like Test Squadron or someone we know who plays, but yeah, not
said
directly through the guide system.
Well, Admiral says he's had one time. He said he had once. Okay.
Sign up, you log into Spectrum, you turn it on, and I think the idea is if you're in game, the idea is I think you can jump into the game together if you want to. But I think when I talked to the guy, it was just a lot of questions, and he's like, "Oh, okay, cool, thanks, appreciate it." I'm like, "All right, fine," and that was it. But it seemed like that. I don't know. I'd have it on. I'd log in and have it on, and no one would show up. So I was just like, "Yeah, I'll just leave it off. I don't care."
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it would be good if CIG were to do more to put that front and center. Like if they were to, when someone first downloads the game and boots up for the first time, if they were to sort of auto bring up a tab or something that says hey, here's the thing, click here for a guide to help you. And then they could even tie that to a thing where so number one, it just gets more people to click on the guide. And then number two, after you help somebody out, let them rate you. And if you get a 5-star rating, they throw your name into a hat, and once a month they pull out somebody and be like, "Hey, Fast Cart, you just won a brand new whatever.
A new car. No way.
You just legit. You just won a brand new Ares Inferno or whatever."
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be that big. It'd probably be an Aurora. Or maybe it'll tear up with every person that you get or something like that.
Well, I think his point is that there's an incentive that's there on both ends. You make it easy for the new player, and then you also give an incentive for people to put in that time, to be able to help people. Because admittedly, I think everybody would say that you definitely learn a lot more when there's someone directly, talking to you and helping you in the game. It's a lot.
Yeah, I had attempted.
I think there's supposed to be skins.
Yeah. Were you saying Neurosis?
Yeah, I had attempted to do that, to be like a guide person, but it was just a little too convoluted. And I was like, when I sent them a message, I said, "Hey, why don't you just put a guide channel? So when they come in, you can see who's the designated guides in the channel and then the Moby-Glass."
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think Kaizen was talking about a pop-up. There's so many pop-up when I log in that I just ignore them. So even if there was a guide system that could come up with a pop-up that says left bracket to accept or right bracket to decline, I just ignore them. So I think that you need something more in your face.
Okay.
All right. So
you want to go to the free fly?
Yeah, the free fly. So, put them in Twitch chat.
Let me ask a question while he's bringing that up. Did any of you guys come into the game because of a free fly?
Yep.
Oh, you guys did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they just did. They did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually bought my package in, I think it was 2014, but I didn't have a computer that would play it.
Okay.
So yeah, the universal wage, and you can select your ship, and they have promotions. We'll get to the promotion in a moment. But they had the Anvil Arrow, the Prospector, the Mercury Star Runner, the Mustang Alpha, Origin 100i, and the Aurora MR. Of those ships, which one of those ships do you think would draw in new players the most? Well, I mean, obviously, it depends on what you're interested in, but just in general, which one do you think would draw people in the most?
I don't know. For a new player, I don't know if they know enough about it. I think that I think they'll see the opportunities to just try everything. Now, what they'll settle on might be a different question.
I would say the Mercury Star Runner because it's the biggest one. All the other prospects.
But that's also because you know what it is. But you know what it is. I'm saying for somebody who doesn't know.
I think for a new player, it's going to be show them pictures, and whatever they go, ooh, that looks pretty. That's
That's
what they'll play.
exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I was going to go to the Mercury Star Runner and say,
Yeah.
because the Mercury Star Runner looks the nice. Well, I'm sorry, Griff, about the Origin 100i, but it looks the nicest out of all of them.
But see, that's to you guys. That's to you guys.
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
telling
we
you,
know.
there are people who will look at that arrow, and because they can
Exactly.
relate to it, being a
Exactly.
fighter, they'll jump into that. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get what you're saying. I think
think-
to Kai's point, whatever they see that grasps their eye, that's what they're going to gravitate toward.
And I
Yeah.
think the Mustang and the Arrow both have the advantage of like a really sort of sexy, hey, that looks like something you would see in Top Gun, but a spaceship version. I think that
Yeah.
they have that. The
You
Aurora
haven't flown
is
the
a look.
Mustang.
So what
Yeah,
you're
the
saying is,
Aurora has a
Griff,
look you gotta learn to love.
so what you're saying is, Griff, the 100i is not going to draw people in. That's what you're
No,
saying.
I tell you what I am saying. If it were me and I was coming in brand new when I approach games, I don't grab the biggest thing first.
Yeah.
Not when I'm learning. I will actually go for the smallest ship first to figure out what it is, and then I'll do the bigger ones later. Because I already know, and by default, I'm going to think that the bigger one is more complicated, whether it's not or not isn't true. But I'm saying I will feel that way. So I'd end up going for any of those first 4. I probably wouldn't mess with the Prospector, because once I read what it was for, I saw it was kind of specialized. I wouldn't monkey with that.
Yeah.
But that's me.
Look at how
Yeah.
sexy the
I
Arrow looks
would-
in that picture.
Yeah. I would stay away from I definitely stay away from the Prospector, because I wouldn't know what that is. The Star Runner just looks too big for me. I would go for the Arrow or the Mustang, because they're smaller.
So I'm assuming that everybody's not a go big or go home kind of person again.
I'm not me.
That's what I'm
Not
saying.
me.
I'm called Liv and I get blown up. That's what I'm called.
I think
That's what I'm thinking about.
So you also
I
have to
think
look
in
at
here. I was gonna say in here for me, the Origin 100 probably makes the best sense, because you
Yeah.
can see like the upgrades and stuff like that. You can also get cargo on that ship, which you can't do for mostly. I mean, bringing it into the Auroras is kind of like not ideal, and the Mercury Star Runner it's just overkill for that ship. I like that 100i being a selection.
I think Griff made a very, very smart point just a minute ago when he said, though, that we're all looking at this through the lens of people who know what these ships are.
Right.
Whereas multiple people said, well, the Star Runner's the big one. You don't know that if you're brand new. If you're brand new, you look at that and you don't get a sense of the scale of the Star Runner being bigger or smaller than the Mustang Alpha or the Anvil Arrow. You're just looking like what picture draws you in, and then reading the little blurb. And then now, obviously, when people log into the game for the first time and they call up their ship and walk up to it, then you see, oh, wow, there's a big disparity between the way a Mustang looks and the way a Mercury Star Runner is a flying building, and a Mustang is an airplane.
In my opinion, I think the Star Wars fans would go for the Mercury Star because of the shape. That would be my
and the general aesthetics.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the name Star Runner would draw a Star Wars fan into it.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
I'll
then
give you
the
that one.
Mustang Alpha would be just disappointment.
Now, if you were to actually have 10 new players spawn all of those ships and take 5 minutes to like walk around the outside of it and get into it and look around and blah blah blah, I think 9 out of 10 are going to pick the Mercury Star Runner
Yeah.
once they see, holy shit, this thing is the Millennium Falcon, complete with a chess set where you better let the Wookiee win or he rips your arms off.
Yeah, you're right. Right now I'm looking at the crowdfunding development spreadsheet that I have access to, and like starting on the 7th, they started making close to 300 or 200K a day. But the thing I was looking for was like how many backers or new accounts were made before the 7th. They were creating about 500 to 600 new accounts per day. Since the free fly, okay, it went from 1,000 1,300 to like 3,000 accounts per day. No, today had
Wow.
5,000 accounts just today.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
So people are interested.
Now, I will say this too. I noticed that I don't know if you guys ever get this happen on your mobile phones when you bring up like Chrome, that the news will come up. There's a news feed that will come up as well. And I've been noticing now that Star Citizen stuff pops up in that feed. So like the Free Fly, for example, popped up in that. You know, and I wasn't looking up anything Star Citizen related. I mean, in a way, but my point is that the advertising about it is going out in many forms, and people are finding out about it a little bit more that way too.
Yeah, I think that the subtle stumble that Frontier made with ED has totally, completely made Star Citizen shine, and I think that's with this free play and CitizenCon coming up and the releases has really boosted their, boosted their potential.
Yeah, their outreach.
Yeah, their outreach. Because I've run into a lot of my friends who played Elite Dangerous because I used to play a lot with it on there, and I now see them playing Star Citizen. And granted, probably half of them already had Star Citizen accounts, but they've made the leap over and they're waiting. They're kind of, wow, I didn't realize that you could do this much. You can play in the game, and how much, how ready it was.
Yeah, Kai has been an avid person on the other side of the tracks who's been trying to educate folks and tell people about that this is not the game that it was in 2015. You know,
Yeah.
and it's just taking some
It's
time.
not the game
for
it was in
them to find out.
2019.
Yeah, it's true.
And
That's true.
And interestingly enough, I got a couple hundred referrals on my account. So like, I guess people are listening. It's a weird, it's like welcome to 2021 where all of the elite players are talking about Star Citizen and all of the Star Citizen veterans are talking about New World. It's a weird, everybody's just all over the place. And you know what? That's okay. It's healthy.
And some of us are talking about Final Fantasy 14, so there's that too.
Oh yeah.
Well, again, there are people who've been here, 3 years, 5 years, 8 years. So there's a level of burnout that you have to prevent, and I think a lot of people like branching out so that they don't get frustrated. So because that is something that really does happen, and I know people that used to stream Star Citizen and they outright quit or they just stopped streaming entirely, and they haven't played the game in 2 to 3 years. So yeah.
That's why we have to measure our expectations that we don't end up in rehab somewhere. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, me and my dad, we always said we needed to have a secondary game.
That's smart.
To play, because we already knew, like when we saw Alpha, like, I mean, obviously we're gamers, so we understand. But like, all right, well, we're gonna need to have something else to play because it's not gonna be our main game right now.
Okay.
But
let's get to the starter packs. The discounted starter packs. I got that on the screen now. So has anyone bought a starter pack in a while?
You're not talking about anybody in this room,
Wait,
are
are
you?
you still? Wait, are you answering that question?
No.
I mean, maybe you want to buy one and gift them to a friend.
Oh,
or
it's
something.
like gifting to somebody. Oh,
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Oh, okay.
Or an alt or whatever. Yeah.
An alt to get yourself a referral, because not all of us can get to a referral. I wish I could, but no, I had to refer it myself. So
What's the discount that they gave?
$5. I have it on
Everything's $5 cheaper.
The
10%,
100.
10%.
Yeah, the 100 is $58.50 where it was $65. So that you're talking about saving what, $8 there, $7 there, and the other ones are like $4.50 off.
Okay.
And the arrow is $9 off.
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
And scroll over to the MSR. That's the one
Let's see
everyone
that
wants to
one.
see.
That,
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
it.
what I'm like. Wait, yeah. No, I
Oh,
want
that
the
one's
other
not
one.
on the list. It's too
That's not
new.
on the list.
It's not a starter. It's not a starter. That's why. Those
Wait,
those are the free fly. Those are
They'll
just for
never
the free
never come
fly.
in.
Yeah, that's for the free
Gotcha.
fly, but it's not
Okay.
considered a starter ship. That's why.
Fair.
It's gonna be like under 100 and under, right?
That-
Or
that-
is it
no.
like 125?
Yeah,
Because the
that's-
Cutlass Black is I think is a starter ship.
Yeah,
isn't it?
no,
Nah,
the Cuddy,
mm-mm.
the
It's
Cuddy,
not a starter.
yeah,
It's our
the-
starter.
okay.
It's our starter because we know the capability, but
Yeah, right.
the Avenger falls more into that category out of any of them.
the Avenger and the Nomad, and the Nomad's not there either.
Right, and the Nomad, yeah.
I'm looking for the MSR
Who knew?
now. Oh, wow.
It's like the size.
Yeah, so it's the 100, the Arrow, the MR, and the Alpha.
hmm
Mustang
Now,
Alpha.
let me ask you guys, because we did the whole thing. If you were a new player, what would you want? Let's forget new player. As us people who know what's up, looking at those ones on the pack there, what do you think is the best bang for your buck? Because I still would recommend to people, if I know them well enough. If I don't know them well enough, I say just get yourself a Mustang or a Aurora, depending on the flavor you
That's what I
want,
would say.
and upgrade from there. People that I know, I tell them pop the other $25 for the Avenger Titan. You'll be happy. But what of the ones that are up here on the list, what do you think is the best bang for your buck?
I'm gonna
It
be
depends
honest
on what
with
you want to
you.
do.
I have seen people trick out all 4 of these ships and go in and slaughter. But that's only when you know how to trick them out.
Yo, you add those extra missiles to the Aurora, it's nothing to sneeze at.
Dude, I'm just telling you. I've seen people go in with the Mustang Alpha and trick it out with the right cannons and just
Hell yeah.
level stuff. So, I mean, but without that knowledge, if we're just talking about the stock ship, these guys know me. I'm an Origin person. I love the design. I mean, I love the design.
I
of
see
the
you have
100
good
over the other
taste.
ones. Thank you very much. A man after my own liking there. That's obvious. But yeah, no, for design, I like the 100. And not just design. The other advantage to that ship is it has the refining thing for hydrogen, the air system, where
Yep.
it refuels itself. And I've flown all over the place with that thing and jumped all across the systems in that thing and not had to worry about fuel for the longest time. So that's the one up that it has over the other 3 ships.
Yep.
And you too are a man of culture. That right there, I think,
Yeah.
honestly, for grizzled veterans who have bigger, better ships, quote, bigger, better ships, don't sleep on that 100i. As when we get to the point where you've got ships parked all over the galaxy, you're going to need to get from spot to spot. That right there is a perfect, what we used to call a bubble bus, like a taxi to get you from A to B.
There you
But
go.
Kai, it's a whole $18.50 more than the Aurora or Mustang.
That's why you get what you pay for, brother.
Well, there's a freelancer starter pack at 125.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. That's
And there is a Nomad starter pack.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I think that
Nomad
Nomad
makes
is a
it-
really strong, yeah. The Avenger
What?
Titan has been my long-term referral, but if you really like the Nomad is a really strong contender now. And I think maybe even a little too strong, because it's like you kind of put this out. When you put this out and put it next to the Aurora and the Mustang, it really, if you know what's up and you know the specs, veterans 10 out of 10 are going to pick that Nomad.
Yeah. Here's the other things too on these other ships too, guys. The couple of these ships, and again, what are the benefits to grabbing one? Anything that has a bed gives you a 1-up because you can log out in it. So that's another thing. Now, of course, if you don't know that in the beginning, but that is the other thing to look at, something that logs out. To Kai's point about the Nomad, the only thing I don't, and I hate to say this, probably the only reason why I haven't bought that ship, it needs that freaking back door to that back deck. I hate the fact that you have to go down the ladder and walk around to the back. If you're back there loading stuff, you should be able to walk into the back of the ship where that window is. That should be a door, a pressure door. As I hate that they didn't put that in there in that ship, because you have to go out the door, down the ladder just to go to the back and then come back up. To me, it's like ridiculous.
Griffin, if they did that, that would add another $20 to the ship.
Yeah, probably right. For the
Here's the deal, Griff. I get you, but when you said the bed is the big thing about the Nomad, that's only half of it. It's got 2 beds. You've got the bed you can sleep in, and a bed you can throw a rock in, ain't none of those other ships able
Yeah.
to carry a rock around. And
Yeah,
that's
that's true.
huge.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think we're going to go to Inside Star Citizen next. Are you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ready as we can
All
be.
right.
In 3.15, we are delivering hospitals for the players of Star Citizen. For me, the healing loop is something that's gonna have a big impact on the way we play, especially in co-op. We ended up creating these drop-off points where you can carry your injured friend. It sort of looks like an elevator with a gurney in the middle. So if you have a big crew and everybody has had a bad day, then you can keep feeding them to the machine. One of the interesting challenges about building hospitals is obviously that we have to build them for a purpose that isn't there yet. And so what we did on the design side, we were very involved with the actor feature team in what is the healing loop going to be like and what are the requirements that we have to factor in our location. So we decided that we need some pharmacies where you can purchase meds. We need also instrument shop where you can set your respawn position. We need also like a completely new way of approaching rooms reservation. We know we get assigned a room in the habitation when we spawn, but now we do it the other way around, where you go into a location and you reserve a room from the lobby, and we didn't have that flow before. So we had to develop all of that to support all the mechanics that are implied with the healing.
For 3.15, we introduced 4 hospitals: Horizon, Base Clinic, Grimex, and New Babbage.
As you enter New Babbage Hospital, you'll see right away what I think is one of the really cool features of this hospital is that there's this glass ceiling above you that allows you to really take in the vista. And if you look behind you, you'll see the Espire Grande Tower where the abs are. You're gonna find your reception on your right hand side, and you're gonna find all your shop and services needs on your left hand side. And really from there, all you have to do is keep going straight to the other half where the elevators are. And then it takes you to the medical floors.
Specifically worked on the upper floors of the hospital. That's where the player will be able to check in at the nurse's desk, spawn in at the medical room.
In my opinion, this hospital shines. Horizon is really big, super high ceiling, really open, and super clean too. You have like the reception right in front of you and the service is a bit behind. And then the elevators, they take you higher up.
As you go out of the elevator, then the player will pass through and see this absolutely gorgeous wind sculpture there, and seeing those big whale passing through the clouds in front of you as you're in those medical bed feels special. It feels different.
And then we have the space clinics. They still offer all the same services that you would find in a larger hospital. It's just that everything is more compact.
We're creating modules and different pieces of the space clinic, so that way every time you experience it, it'll be just a little bit different and you'll still get the same feeling.
We always try to place them near the elevators that takes you to the hangar, so that whether you come in after you're being injured or whether you're walking out and you're in a hurry to go back in space, it's easy and convenient. So you walk in there, it's again very clean, but much less so than Horizon. Obviously, it has more like this kind of low-tech vibe to it. These ones, I expect them to be fairly popular because they're just so convenient. Grimex, if it had a smell, it would smell like like a sport bag or something like that.
Low tech, it's not as clean as New Bab or Horizon.
Me personally, it's the best. It's much smaller. It's more like on the clinic size, so there's not a big elevator to go through. As we all know, elevators are the biggest killers in game development, so it's a good thing that we skipped one there. It has this really nice view to the asteroid field outside. And the cool thing is that you can also land your ship right next to a side entrance to the clinic. So if you're in a hurry and you don't want to go and park in a hangar or into the traversal, you can park right next to it, get out, walk in, and get treated. But the thing is, like, it's open space, right? So your ship is exposed while you do that, and you could very well see a pirate fly in and shoot at your ship as you're getting fixed yourself, and really this kind of emergent like interaction is really what makes the game shine, I think. The hospitals are part of a game changer.
When people leave the hospital and they wake up and they explore around, I think they're really going to see like the love and care we put into each crevice and corner.
I hope that the hospitals are going to be a way to wrap up the full healing loop. Honestly, if the players find them convenient, me as a designer, I'm happy my job is done.
Hospitals are the next major offering from our team in Montreal, and serve as harbinger of the next major advancement in player healing from the actor feature team scheduled to come online in the upcoming Alpha 3.15. And while we'll be learning more about how all that works in the coming weeks, let's shift gears now to spaceships.
All right. So let's go to alphabetical order, starting with Kusanagi, or Admiral Kusanagi. That's why it's alphabetical. What are your thoughts?
I think it looks great. Medical gameplay, looking forward to it. I think it's really cool that they have the an elevator that you can put all the wounded people in there, and you can if you have a hospital ship, you can drop down there, get the patients off, and then take off again. Or even if you're it's your own ship, you can drop off your crew and then take off. Pretty cool.
Face to face.
Oh, I love it. One thing though, I have to point out, it was kind of, if I'm probably the only weird one in here, when he said Grimhex probably smelled like a dirty gym bag. I was like, I wonder if we had smell-o-vision.
Hey, don't give Chris Roberts any more ideas, because I can see that feature creep coming in the game. How about you, Kai?
Yeah, I just want to hear everybody else's thoughts, but I'll just say Turbulent is killing it. Every task that they have gotten, I just see home run after home run. So I'm super, super excited to see with how well they've done this. I know they're working on other systems, and I'm excited to see where this plays out.
Oh, can I point out though, why does Grimhex medical stand have packages that look like drugs? And I'm not talking about the legal kind.
No, they're botanicals. That's what they are. Yeah, botanical. That's what they are. Neurosis.
So, I'm confused with the Turbulent thing. What besides space systems are they working on here?
Well, I mean,
in the game,
they did a lot of work on these hospitals, and there's been a couple of things that they've had tasks, and they've all come out really top notch, and let's just say as politely and generally as possible, on time.
Yeah, Turbulent is, even though one of the main focuses that was announced when they opened a new studio was that they were going to be working on the different solar systems, but there's also other work that they're doing is design work as well. So, but when they first announced about the new studio with Turbulent and the partnership, I think that's because that seemed to be the main focus that they're working on. But they've got like 200 and something people that are working at a studio.
Roger that.
Yeah, they used to just be the website design people, but now expanding.
Right.
Yeah. So I was, one of the things I hope they implement, you've got this emergency landing pad at Grimhex. It's like, why wouldn't, my view is I wish they would probably have that as an option at all locations, because that would make things go a little bit faster. Is that
Yeah.
elevator that's going to be when you land? You'll be able to put people in the elevator right there when you land, or is that where was that going to be?
Yeah, you know, Neurosis, there was a subject of this coming up before about assuming that there will be landing pads at the different medical facilities. For example, I think last week Jade was mentioning about at Maria
Yeah.
in Hurston, you know, there are landing pads below that area, but we've also
Right.
talked about rooftop landing pads, so we don't really know exactly what the entry will be to bringing people in. But we figure they've talked about ambulances being able to drop people off. So
Mhm.
I would definitely think that doesn't mean at the spaceport. So,
Okay.
because we can't put them on the tram, you know, so, you know, I'm sure that there's going to be something that they're going to show us for a new landing area for the other facilities. Because I think the Grimhex one is just one that we kind of know about, that weird way you can come into Grimhex. But yeah, we'll see what they come up with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, then yeah, definitely. As a person who's been the healer in a lot of different games, I actually like that.
I'm curious about this whole thing too. With this medical bed thing is real. I mean, you're going to be, for some reason, people are going to be so incapacitated that they, you know what I mean, that they can't walk in.
Right.
So I don't know if that's that when you're in that state where you like have died and you're being revived.
Can you
Uh,
imagine?
I'm just curious as to what the state of you, what your status is, that it's so bad that your friends have to wheel you in. I'm curious what that's going to
Can you
be.
imagine the gameplay what that's going to be like? Like you get shot or you're incapacitated somehow, but you're still logged in. You don't have no control of your character. You have to let other people wheel you in. Is that going to be exciting or incredibly boring, or somewhere in between?
Depends, though.
Was
don't
that
see-
like the different levels of like injury you get? There were like what they talked about, like 3 different levels. Like level 1 can be mostly repaired, like on a Cuddy Red, and then like level 2
Yeah,
could be
yeah.
like in the Carrick, and then level 3 you'll have some permanent sort of incapacitation that has to be done at a hospital.
Oh,
Yeah, but
actually,
And I
point
other-
want
is-
to.
yeah, my point is that being a player that level 3, you have no control of your character, or you have minimum control of your character until you get that fixed. What that gameplay is going to be like? That's my worry.
I'm guessing if you're like a soloer and you're at level 3 incapacitation, then flying your ship might have some effect where you can't control it as well.
actually,
I
it's
mean,
it's the other way around. So they've said tier 3 injuries are just you're
Yeah.
missing some health points. Tier
Okay.
2 is limbs don't work. Tier 1 is you're
Gotcha.
incapacitated. Sorry, but
Gotcha.
just and
No problem. No problem. No, but
So-
go ahead.
I think what you might end up seeing is, because they've said, the devs have already said specifically, if you're in the quote unquote downed state, i.e. dead right now, but it's going to shift to you're in a down state. The idea is you're comatose, you can't move, and you have a screen that pops up that says you have X amount of hours, minutes, seconds. I don't know they haven't elaborated, but you have X time to get either A, you release now so that you're not held hostage to a bad gameplay loop, or B, you wait. And I
Right.
think that the wait aspect is going to be someone shows up, you know, a friend or an NPC, if you have a contract out. I don't know who or how that's going to work, but someone shows up and they assess your incapacitation. And maybe with the tools that they have and the stuff that they have available to them, they can get you from a tier 3 state or tier 1 state, which is you're incapacitated and unconscious, whatever, to a tier 2 state, which means they can help you. They can throw you on a stretcher, or they can, you know, kind of put an arm under you and give you the ranger's carry and drag your ass back to the ship. But like, if they look at you, and even with their medical, like the abilities that they have in situ, they're able to stabilize your health so that you don't expire. Like, okay, I had 8 minutes left by the time the guys got here. They got here, they applied the med pack, that locked in my state as stable. So now I don't expire on the way back to the hospital, but I'm still completely unconscious. I'm in a coma, and they have 2 guys throw me on a stretcher and drag my ass back to the ship. They lock me in the bed. That bed like then keeps that extends. Oh, you got another 2 hours, 3 hours because now you're in this special bed that's stabilizing you, and then they wheel me over to Orison to the hospital, and now they can get me. Okay, it's X amount of dollars under your insurance package to get you full up and back to go, or it's X amount of dollars to be full up. It's half of that to be. Okay, you're back alive, but now you got a robot arm instead of your regular arm. Like, who knows? That's all weird.
And to your point, Fast Cart, will it be boring? No. Because the other situation is what happens for some people, as Kai said, they may opt out and say, I don't want to wait to get picked up, and I'm willing to take the consequences of killing myself right here. But that also means a couple things. One, it means that there's impact on your body now. The whole DNA thing kicks in, right? Whether this is the first time or the third time that you've done it. Secondly, all the items that you had, you left them behind wherever they were. And so the question is, am I willing to sacrifice leaving behind what was ever back there versus me waiting a few minutes for somebody to pick me up? If the incentive is that
You say
whoever,
3 minutes. Just real quick, you say a few minutes, but I mean, when the game launches, it could be an hour, depending on where you are.
well, the question is, where am I at that I'm willing to go out and get killed that far out in space? I mean, for real. And
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. There could be those cases where something unusual happens and you die. That's again a risk you're taking when you do that. But there are going to be people in the game, as you know. There are some orgs that all they're doing is looking for those type of gigs to do. And maybe their payment isn't because I paid them, but as part of them retrieving people, they get the insurance money. That pays them for doing that mission loop, right? Maybe I could pay them as an incentive and say, well, hey, if you instead of taking me to this facility, take me to R-Corp instead of Hurston because I got to ship at R-Corp. If you take me to Hurston, I got to get a shuttle to get out of there. Maybe there's something weird like that you can negotiate in your downstate or whatever. But I'm sure they've come up with some loops for that to be able to work around it. But players will have that option. Do I wait the extra 10 or 15 minutes, for somebody to pick me up? Or do I say, hey, I don't want to wait, but am I willing to lose that great?
You have so much to live for. Don't do it.
Well, it's not for me. I'm just saying. I mean, if I want to lose that great piece of armor or that great weapon that I paid money for, or I had modified on your endeavor, and now I'm going to lose that weapon, or is it worth it?
I give it back to you. Wink.
Yeah, right.
But that's part. It could also be that if you have the gold insurance plan, like they have ambulance, Cuddy Reds in the area that are NPC flown, and if you have the gold insurance plan, you wait 3 minutes. If you have the silver insurance plan, you wait 10 minutes. If you have the bronze insurance plan, you wait 20 minutes. So it's like pay up if you want the quick service.
There you go.
My
If you get the
bad.
platinum service, platinum service gets you a first alert. You can just push the button and they'll come.
sounds like
Help! I've fallen and I can't get up.
I just wanted to add, first of all, like
before you go, Kuchinagi, we got to get the Pops in space because I derailed the conversation before we got a chance to get to him. So what do you thought, Pops? Then we go back to Kuchinagi.
It was my turn now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just was. Nah, it's okay. It's okay. I was just wondering if there's going to be anything like visitation. If it's going to be more like Klesher, according to severity of your injury. Maybe if it's an hour, maybe 2 hours, something like that. You can go and visit people.
Yeah, you know what they said, Pops? They said that when you go to the hospital, this is the statement that they said, when you wake up, there will be a doctor and a nurse in the room. You'll be out of your uniform, out of your suit. You'll be in a gown. And you have to change clothes and I guess and I think they said you can request something at that point of the doctor. The doctor will ask you what you want to have done or something like that. But that's in the case where you wake up in the hospital. In this situation where there's the ambulance one, where you're being brought in, whether there's going to be a time factor that says how long you have to wait. Because back in the day when we used to die and you'd wake up in the hospital, you just kind of woke up. You woke up in a room that was a bed. Nobody was in there. You jumped up and you ran out of the hospital. That's all it was. But I think that they are trying to add a little something to it. But whether it would be like you're down in the hospital for a period of time, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
People will probably go ape if they do that, you know.
Yeah. Just maybe a short thing. Maybe, your org mates come and
Geography
bring you,
messed up really bad. Mm-hmm.
yeah, bring you something from the gift shop,
So my question is, when you wake up in the gown, is your ass showing, or do you
Yeah,
have the?
it's the gown with no back. Yeah, you're gonna wake up with that.
So my bad, Kuchinagi. Were you done, Pop?
Oh, Fist.
Yeah.
What about Fist?
Okay, Kuchinagi.
What about Fist?
Why do you talk?
Fist is. Oh, you're okay. You're talking. I just want to say, so like, first of all, like, I think like maybe if looking at tiers, it's like I think if you do think about 3.5, which is, or you could kind of say it's 3, but medics will be on the battlefield, and they'll be able to, you're going to be able to use your med pen for at least, like adrenaline or something like that, and then they can, bandage you up, while you're in a fight. So you don't need a cutty red at that moment, especially you might need it in the future. But if you look at like Vietnam battles, there were like plenty of guys who had like chest wounds and, bleeding from their arms, and they were all bandaged up and they were still fighting because they had. So I think that would be a thing. And then also when we talk about dragging like an unconscious person, I think to be able to actually move them, they're going to have to get in some type of fireman's carry, or a pack strap carry or something like that, or maybe like 2 people carrying a victim, so that they can just move them quickly out of an area and get them on a ship and get them off the ship, or put them on a stretcher or something like that.
But I don't know. I could just see face to face picking me up, grabbing me by one of my legs and just dragging me across the floor, the ground.
Well, I mean,
down steps.
But don't forget the drag mechanic is in the game. So
Yeah.
moving bodies is not an issue right now. I mean, it probably look better if you had 2 people carrying somebody. The other thing too is that even if you're carrying people, you have to have the facility to transport them. If you all came in fighters, where are you going to put the body?
Mm-hmm.
That's another factor. So the when you say and to your point, Admiral, yeah, you will have medic on field people who are prepared to do things medically, but everything that's done in the field is temporary. And if you're wounded, you are going to feel it in some form. You're either going to limp, or your aim's going to be off, or you're not going to move as quickly. So no matter what medical attention you get in the field, it's nothing that's going to restore you to the point. I mean, you might be finishing up the last bits of a battle, but the reality of it is, do you want to keep pushing it? Do you want to keep bleeding out? Do you want to make your body worse in the end? Or is it better to, like in some battle situations, they don't wait to get people out. They get them into medevacs and get them out of there then in order to save their lives. So it's going to be a decision that the person, like you said, is going to have to make. Do I stay and fight this out? Or do I say, look, get me out of here? I'm on my second of 3 lives. I cannot afford to die. That's
I think
factor.
Griff, there are some people down south who would love to just help you out and put you on the nose of their gladius.
That's right.
And just some rope.
Strap you down and go for it.
And take off.
He's got his helmet on. He'll be all right.
We're gonna get this man to a hospital
cord
ASAP.
to secure you.
Yeah, that's what they used to do. Put you in front of a Jeep and just drive on off with you. That's what they did. Yeah. Good point,
I'm
Admiral.
gonna say that this is why I have a Super Hornet. It's a 2-seater, so it's a fighter, but it's a 2-seater. So you should be good. But put it this way: if there's more than 2 people, someone is bombed. But if it's just one, you're fine.
And if the guy doesn't make it, you're a good, hood ornament.
That's like a Firefly Serenity. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, but to your assessment of what I would do to you, though, Fast Card is 100% accurate.
He might do that at a bar. Citizen, be careful.
I get to see myself now going down some step. Bump, 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 bump.
See, now, the thing that I would add though is that you will wake up, but you won't wake up with what you had.
Back, ask a quick question. What did you guys think about them now kind of breaking this medical thing down into different departments? Like there's the insurance location, there's the pharmacy location, there's the insurance location. Because right now you can go to the gun shop and get your med pens, right? But it seems like that's all going to shift now. What do you guys think about that?
Hey, repeat that question.
When they were showing us the hospital, they were in the different clinics. they were showing that now there are places to buy med pens, right? There are places to go get your insurance. You know, that is shifting, that there are going to be specific locations now instead of like, you know, right now you just go to the weapons store and you can get your med pens and your bullets. And I guess do you think that they're going to kill that? Do you think they're just going to make it where weapon shops are weapon shops, right? You're not going to be buying, you know, your food and your med pens and all that stuff there. Now you need to go to these other locations. Or do you think they'll keep the one-stop shop kind of thing going on?
I think they have a 7-Eleven, one-stop
Well,
shop.
Yeah, well, the one at Orison is you can get a candy bar, you can get a the whale. What's the whale?
You can get
Uh,
the
plushie.
packaged sandwich.
You can get a drink and a gun.
I think they'll keep. To me, I would assume like they would keep the med pens because from the way we're talking about how the way medical gameplay is going to be played. I mean, med pen is like I don't even think that's like a tier within your medical gameplay. Like that's probably like a half a tier or something like that. You just hitting yourself with adrenaline just to go. To keep yourself up.
But by putting it in pharmacies, does that force us to start using the real estate more instead of everything being in one location?
Well, that's what I was trying to. I'm sorry, I was long-winded to get to my point. Was that I think they will probably. I would assume I would think they would keep that there in like the gun shops, something like that. To go because like combat, that's a part of combat. I would assume, to me because that's not really. Once you hit yourself with an adrenaline shot, it's not going to last that long. That's what I kind of see the med pen kind of becoming.
Okay.
So
I think when you look at supply and demand, how much supply do they have? So if you've got a group of like 20 people, and you're going to do an operation, it's probably behooves you to go to a hospital and buy a quote-unquote a box of med pens at a hospital because the 7-Eleven is not going to have the quantity that you need.
So did they actually mention if the med pens were going to come in different levels, like the higher quality ones that will do better, heal you more?
No,
like
the
maybe
med-
I
I'm
wasn't
sorry.
sure. I had briefly saw it, but I never read into it or looked it up.
So basically, the med pens are just restore hit points. That is the most basic whatever. So think of like a low level HP pot for regular MMOs. In addition to that, they're going to have a healing attachment for the multi-tool, which is the next step up, which is the most basic whatever. In addition to that, they're going to have a full-on medical tool, a dedicated medical tool, which will have more advanced capabilities as well as diagnostic capabilities.
So I mean, so I say leave the med pens where they're at, and all the higher tier stuff be available at the specialized places to get people to move around a little more.
So I think if you look in Orison at the gift shop, they do not have med pens. So I think that's a key indicator. I don't think they're going to really go yanking them out of places that they're in, but more as they design stuff in the future, they'll delineate better. But for me, the most important sort of germ of Griffin's question there is not so much the just looking at where med pens are, but just the fact that this differentiates Star Citizen from other MMOs where if you were to look at pretty much any other MMO that you can think of, when the clinic is just it's like those oldie timey movies from the whatever 1940s or 50s where they would have a fake like cowboy town and all of the buildings were just the building front. And so in other games, your hospital or your church, if it, like some games, some MMOs, you revive in the church if you're dead or whatever. Like it's literally just a storefront. It's a spot where mystical magic happens behind the scenes, and boop, you pop up there. Whereas in Star Citizen, there is doctors and nurses and interactions and insurance and multiple different types of healing devices and clones and all of these. It's like everything else with Star Citizen. They say, oh cool, you guys are doing Mario from the original Mario, or you guys are doing Pong and we're doing the Oasis. We're like doing this
Yeah.
way more in-depth thing. And I think that that's the biggest sort of key indicator of to get to the germ of Griff's statement.
Let me ask one other question from you guys. Do you think that they will be able to create a form of medical game play for people who want to do a profession in the hospitals? I know they've talked
Or in
about
the
it.
hospital.
How can you see, how can you see, or what do you see as being a form of a mechanic? Like if what I want to do is hang out and make my money at the hospital, right? That's what I want to do. I'm into medical
Okay.
at that degree. I'm in a medical org, and some of my people are going out into space. I'm going to hang out at Orison for a while and make some cash. How do you think that could happen?
Oh,
I
that'd be cool.
I don't think that'll happen in the hospital. I think that'll happen in people's ships or people homesteads or people or in the someone's org. I don't think you can go in the hospital because that's where the NPCs and everything react. And I mean, you can't just say, "Oh, this is my space in this hospital on this planet." I don't think it's gonna work that way.
Okay, but I'm asking, do you think there can be a form of medical gameplay if I want to do a medical career? I'm not saying I'm pushing the NPC doctor out the way or anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm saying, can they create something though that is like, go do this at the hospital? Go this, that, and the other.
So,
Something that I'm assigned, like I'm the contract manager, and I have to do it at the hospital.
So right now when the newbies start off, and I was gonna say more like, how mining, you start off with hand mining, have something like that while you're waiting to work up to a mining ship, have like you're a sort of apprenticed at a hospital where you're given tasks to do. That would be interesting for you can make money to actually work up to, say, a Cuddy Red, or if they ever get the other triage ships into the game, I would say that would actually be great if they could.
And the reason why I'm asking is because CIG told us that there will be certain roles in the game that we will be able to do, and if we can't do them, an NPC would. And so I'm wondering, could there be a loop that says that, for example, maybe the mission is that I go to one of the labs in the hospital and I make something. Maybe it's make med pens, right? Just something that I'm doing that's there that ends up being used in the game. I'm just kind of curious because it's interesting. Don't get me wrong. It's plenty for the med. Let me say it this way. And Kai said this earlier. He talked about we can either be doing checkers, or we could be doing chess, or we could be doing three-dimensional chess. And CIG always seems to take careers to the next level beyond just injecting somebody with something, right? And I'm just kind of curious if they would develop medical profession to not only be, as Fastcard said, in the field and on ships, but even to be able to say we're doing something at a hospital on a planet. That's what I want to do. And I'm just in Fastcard, I'm flashing back to the old Star Wars Galaxies days where people just stayed on the planet and operated, and that's all they did was work out of the hospital, or at the cantina, and all they did was stay at the cantina and they worked, right? And that's the reason why I was asking that question.
I kind of see, I think that is a very cool, like way down the line in depth thing. I think more to start off with, what I imagine seeing is you report to a hospital, right? And they give you some NPC guys with various different maladies, and you have to scan them and triage them to get a certification. And once you get like your EMT certification, then it would be the same. It would be a very similar gameplay loop to bounties now, but instead of go out and kill an NPC who's a bad guy, it would be go out and rescue an NPC. The mission where you're like, hey man, this guy is a prospector that's out in a cave somewhere on Aberdeen, and you show up and he's always dead, and it's just the point is show up and mine, do some hand minables while you're there. What if you got missions where, hey, show up and be an EMT, and you get there and the prospector's still alive and he's got a busted up leg, and you gotta set his leg and then help him get out of the cave and then take him back to the hospital to quote unquote claim your bounty, which in this case is a rescue bounty type thing.
That'd be cool.
That would be really cool.
Let me cut in real quick here. Radagast, thank you so much for the 10 sub-gifts. You all give him some love, him and Zaylan, those of you all who are beneficiaries. Thank you guys so much for that. We appreciate that support. Yeah, and that's exactly what I was talking about, Kai, is that what type of game loop could be created for people who want to specialize in that career. And I do remember them talking about that is one of the processes that when people come into the hospital, you're going to be scanned, and then they're going to determine the degree of your injuries, and then what type of medications need to be applied, so on and so forth. But I didn't think about that same thing for NPCs. That would be a loop that could be created.
If I can add,
Yeah, Pops.
no, I was just saying it because for the medical field, just to be a field medic, I think it should be something that as you progress and you get better and you go on more missions, you become more of a open heart surgeon, brain surgeon type of situation, and you have that on call option, like kind of like what Griff was saying. If a particular patient comes in, and you may pick up that particular mission and earn that bucks, where you may have to go to Orison to do that particular operation because you progress that high in that field, and it's a goal that you can reach. Besides just being a field medic,
That's
Could you imagine being at the club like at Orison, and then your pager goes off and your Moby key?
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
Scavenger said what you said, Pops. He said, to start out as that field medic and work
Yeah,
yourself up
and work your way up.
doctorate. And that could be a game mechanic. It could be a contract
Mhm.
tab that says you want to take this job over at, Orison or, at New Babbage, something's going on, and you travel there and you get paid to do it. I mean, I'm telling you, there will be people who will do that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Taking that to the next level, it's like they'll have those occasional ones where you are actually sent out to rescue players, which would be kind of cool if you get to a high enough certification.
Panther, I'm not going to be one of the people.
Panther.
I'll do an ambulance run, but I don't know if I'm going to be doing doctoring. I don't mind doing the cutlass thread. That much I will do.
What if they literally make you work your way up? Like you start off with just people with a broken ankle, and by the time you're done, you're dealing with, okay, this guy's got multiple gunshot wounds. But just like the bounty hunting gameplay, like you have to earn your way up the line to be able to do the more complex missions.
That would be cool.
Yeah, and if you got to like level the highest tier, you could actually, fix level 1 injuries from other players. I mean,
I love it.
All right. But before we go to the next part of the Inside Star Citizen, I just want to say to Kaizen, you're talking about the old timey 1940. You're gonna make Griffin feel bad to talking about that, calling it old timey, because he was around back then.
Not that far back. That's too far back for me.
All right.
And while we'll be learning more about how all that
That's when
works
Griff
in the
used to
coming
say,
weeks,
"Mercy,
let's shift
mer."
gears now to spaceships, specifically Aegis stalwarts, the Gladius, Saber, and Retaliator, and find out what it really means today and be a gold standard in a pipeline that is continuously evolving to this day and beyond.
The gold standard pass is what we are terming this current pass on the vehicles. We are implementing primarily cockpit button placement, could be button animations, making sure everything is symmetric, both character and item-wise, exposing all the ship items, lighting passes, material passes. Gold standard is finishing the ship to as complete a standard as we can with the feature set that we have right now in the game. The first ship that we put through this pass was the Aegis Gladius.
I was a little nervous working on the Gladius because it is like the STAR Squadron, and I wanted to make sure I did a good job on it. And then also coupled with the fact that because Squadron are using it, I had to make sure that I didn't break anything with each submit, so they can keep working on Squadron and still able to test and work on it. We started off with adding component hatches and a personal inventory. Gladius didn't seem to have any visible headlight source, so I went in and added some nice big headlights for that at the front. And then it was just with the thruster glows as well, trying to get them to look nice and read from a distance. Adding the fuel port on it as well. And then, yeah, just like some geo optimizations and material optimizations and more stuff that you don't necessarily would see, but makes the game, more optimized and runs better.
So on the next ship, which was the Saber, we built on what we learned from the Gladius and did that in the Saber.
For instance, the damage mesh, needed a bit of tweaking. We added in a bunch of lighting so you can still read the ship from afar, but not make it too bright as it's still a stealth ship. And after the whole exterior was done and dusted, we moved on to a revision of the dashboard, overall just reworking so it's not as noisy, and now you have like a better view of like your cockpit and then just everything nice and compact to the sides. In a couple of sentences, a really rough overview of the Saber Gold Standard process.
So the Retaliator Gold Standard is obviously a much larger task than the Gladius and Saber. Has all the same criteria of work, so looking at the cockpit, looking at the components, adding all the things, checking everything's symmetric. But because it's got an interior, then there's additional tasks added. So the same work we do for the cockpit of the pilot has to be done for the turrets. The components that you can physically take out of the ship, can you physically take them out of the ship? Do the doors need to be wider, etc.? Now you've made the doors wider, do they still fit in the ship when they open? And we also took the time to look at the central room and thought, can we improve on this? We decided to remove the top and bottom docking collars and go for a side airlock, which also helps for docking because that's just a natural walking on transition. And then because we'd lost a lift on that side, we then realised we had to make the lift on the other side slightly larger to accommodate essentially 2 lifts worth of people. So then you've now just got 1 lift on that side of the ship to get in and a docking collar on the other side to get in. Thing that the Retaliator has is the customizable room modules, and there's a cargo module front and back, a dropship module at the front. They were all brought up to current standards, so when modularity comes on as a swappable item, they are good to go. That's where we're at with the first gold standard ships. Obviously going to go through all the ships, but we are going to focus on the ones that feature heavily in Squadron 42 first, and then we will roll on to your favourite ship afterwards.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that hospitals are the vanguard of new player healing mechanics coming to Star Citizen that look to change the way we live and die in the persistent universe. That much like the planet tech, even the spaceships that we've had and flown thousands of times continue to improve and evolve as new technologies come online. And that elevators truly are the most dangerous killer in the game development kingdom. They only let me work Jungle Cruise once, but I killed it. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you all next week.
Okay, I'm gonna mix up the order a little bit. Gonna start with face to face. What are your thoughts?
I'm happy to see that ships are getting as gold standards. I know they said that they're gonna be doing the Squadron 42 ones first, which is cool. I expect that. But this is always great. I mean, I like the point of fact of seeing how you have to, the gameplay loop with being able to take care of all your components and they come out and have to tweak them and repair them. This is cool.
Aizen, what are your thoughts?
Super excited. I think 3.15, the headline is medical, and that's what everybody's looking at. And I think they're sleeping on the bigger picture. The bigger picture to me of 3.15 is survival gameplay. Half of that is the medical side and the stuff that comes with that, and it's going to continue to evolve. But the other half of that is, the changes in inventory, and you're no longer having a bag of holding of everything in the universe that you carry with you. It's all about keeping track of your status, keeping track of your logistics, keeping track of your consumables, and all of those different things. And I think it's massive, and I think it's great.
Hi, I'm sorry. Yeah, neurosis, my bad.
I'm pretty excited about all of it. I especially like the fuel port. Having a Starfarer, I was like, I want to be able to play the fuel rat game. But yeah, I'm really excited to see some of the stuff that's coming out with the modules, the module components, and you know, hopefully, the whole repairing of the components is to me pretty intriguing. So I'm looking forward to all that.
Pops.
Oh, I mean, I like the idea that the Retaliator has more than one purpose, a dropship. So I know it's a bomber, dropship. I forget the other one. But I do. I'm sorry. What did you say, Griff?
Cargo.
Oh, okay. Cargo. Okay. Cargo. I love the point of fact that they are going back and redoing the ships and what they call the gold standard, reevaluating them as far as corridors. It just goes to show the level of detail that they're doing. They're not just dropping plastic, kind of model ships at us and just leaving them. They are really thinking about them and bringing them to a standard. I think we all will appreciate in the end.
I'm Kusanagi.
A few things from this thing. First off, it was interesting they talked about the Gladius. They mentioned the artist mentioned the fuel port, but they showed the shield, compartment bay. So they actually didn't show the fuel port yet. Regarding the tally,
they've shown it, Admiral. You haven't seen it where it is? It's in the weirdest spot. Does anybody know where it is on the Gladius? And I don't know how they're going to do this. It's in the back under the rear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When they put out the gold standard, it's on there now, and I don't know how the heck you're supposed to fuel it that way.
So is it going that little V thing, that little wing thing underneath it? That looks kind of funky.
It's underneath on the bottom of the ship. Yes, in the back, like the Batmobile. It's in the back.
Like the Batmobile.
It's like a prostate exam.
Dude, I'm telling you, you would think it would be in the front, right? Like most fighters, like up top.
Right.
It's not. It's underneath in the back. When next time you look at the Gladius, you'll see it. Go back there, look in the back of it, you'll see it. And I'm like, how the heck are they supposed to fuel this? This is I don't get it.
Well, it's a carrier-based ship, or it's probably just designed. It's probably quote unquote designed to be.
Raymar says there's one on top.
Something.
Yeah, Raymar says there is one on top. I didn't see it, Raymar, so I missed it. I just saw the one in the back. The one that Captain No Pants said he saw. Okay.
All right. So, and then we go back to the tally. So the tally, there's 4 different. There's 8, different rooms, because you've got 2 of each. So you've got the cargo modules, you got the living modules. I want the one in the back, and then you have the torpedo bays, which I hope can be switched into drop bomb bays, or just slightly configured to do that, and then the drop ship modules. I know there's a big one in the front. I don't know about how it looks like in the back.
Yeah, there's only one drop ship module. There's only one drop ship
module.
There's only
one? Okay.
In the back.
I do know that it's supposed to be able to hold the Titan suit.
Titan suits, yep. It's got armed weapons, racks and stuff back there and everything, yeah.
So, when are we getting the Titan? Okay. When are we getting the Titan? Like the Titan, it's like it seemed to me like we're not getting a Titan until we get the Endeavor.
The Titan suit?
Yeah, the Titan suit.
You have to count 5 years in your fingers, and when you hit 5 years, then you might see it.
Thank you, Captain No Pants. Thank you for that clarification. Captain No Pants says that there is one at the top for air refueling, and then the one on the bottom is for ground refueling. And they did talk about ground refueling of ships, so that might make more sense.
So what are your thoughts, Griffin?
Yeah, agreed. The gold standard, for those of us who've been around or heard us talk about this before, that in the early days the metrics weren't there for the ships completely, and over the years they've defined metrics for each manufacturer. So, for example, the Retaliator is a really good example of it because if you notice, they took that second lift out and they put a docking collar there. Some of the docking collars on different ships also didn't match, or the metrics weren't there. So they're starting to build this universal kind of thing. They at one point talked about doing them for different manufacturers too. Like if you guys notice, the doors for the 890 and the Hammerhead, those are a matched door. But then you've got like the circular doors that are on like the Cutlasses and the Andromedas, which is a little bit different. So, and they, with the Retaliator, they've put one on there now. So it'll be kind of cool to see, you know, them start to make this uniformity amongst the ships, because there are just little things that they need to tweak to get them at a place where everything's kind of making sense. Because before it was kind of all over the place in some cases.
It's still all over the place, but that's just because they haven't got to draw all the ships yet. But they say they will, and that's like 150 ships that we know of that they have to get to. It'll be a while, but it should be worth it. But from my thoughts is that we know these ships are definitely going to be in Squadron 42. The Saber, the Retaliator bomber, and well, we know the Gladius is like the cover of Squadron 42. It's going to be predominantly shown. So I'm interested in seeing what other ships. Well, we kind of know what other ships, like the Argo cargo and the Argo the personal carrier, stuff like that, going to be in Squadron 42. But I'm interested in seeing what other ships beyond them are going to be in Squadron 42 also. Okay. Any other thoughts before we move on?
Let's do it.
All right. So next up we have The Hunter, the Star Citizen short story. It's in Machinima, gone by Liefx. Oh, we covered him before.
Yep, we did them last week. It's two short ones this week, but I think you guys will like both of them.
All right, so let's hit it.
Being a bounty hunter isn't all what it's cracked up to be. Your soul, as big as the void as the space you travel, caught somewhere between good and evil.
Hey, I'm at Facility 3 to meet you for that package pickup like you asked.
What do you mean? I never asked to meet me.
Huh? And then who sent the message? Oh no.
All emotion aside, though, this is like a giant game of four-dimensional chess. The thrill of the hunt.
Oh god, where is he? Oh, I hope he's not out here.
The thrill of the hunt can only begin to describe the feeling. You have to be the hunter and the prey, understanding your target, becoming them. Once inside their mind, you'll always be a step ahead, manipulating their future and funneling them right into your hands. I think I love control. I have a relationship with manifested destiny. I play her game and she rewards me. So if you ever find yourself with a bounty on your head, know I'm already watching.
Where is he?
Learning. Becoming. So, until we meet.
All right. That was interesting. Kai, what are your thoughts?
Good stuff. I love it. He needed to have that long gun isolated, and he needed to have a dope book. But other than that, good stuff.
Neurosis?
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
All right, but what do you thought of the video, though?
I did. I liked it a lot. It was nice. I would like to see how they're going to implement it in the game. It'd be, I mean, It looks like it's going to be some interesting gameplay.
Pops.
Oh, it was good. It's a simple subject, but it kept you intrigued.
Kuchinagi?
I was okay. The guy, doing the cargo pickup seemed to lost his ship. I don't know, he lost his keys or what. Just running around trying to figure out where he parked his car.
Fist.
That was pretty cool. I would have liked to seen him get shot. You know.
This is
See
a
how that
PG
would've played
video.
out.
PG video. No, I'm messing with you.
Oh well. It's not a PG game though. I'm just playing.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. My thoughts was that narrative voice. He's like he should be doing movie trailers or something, or doing some ASMR or something.
In a world.
Yes. Griffin, you're the one who picked this video. What are your thoughts?
I was mostly impressed with his shooting of the video, depth of field and angles that he took, which was pretty cool. Especially some of the distant shots, the shots of the sniper, the bounty hunter when he was sitting up on the ridge and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty cool. And Captain No Pants, thank you for the subscription. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, the cinematography was great. I think if you had like more music in there and like less talking,
It had music the whole time.
I would have enjoyed it. I would have enjoyed it more.
But less talking, okay. But I think he had music throughout the whole thing. But yeah.
Well, to the Admiral's point, he parked his ship a long way away from wherever he was at, so.
There's a problem. All right, so you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
The next one is...
Yeah, the next one's a surprise. I stumbled across this. This was posted as a post from the PTU for 314. Someone was able to secure a ship that we normally can't secure, and we're going to let you guys see it.
This is by Furaxe. Or Furaxe. All right. Kai, what do you thought? The Idris, Stolen Idris.
So, okay, a couple things. Number one, a couple of the shots, it looked a little bit like it was photoshopped or whatever. I don't know. And then in the cockpit shots, you see no player hands on any of the controls as it's moving. That might just be because it's not meant for us to have, and it is legit that it's owned, but it's just a matter of they didn't put in the character animations because we're not meant to have that. If it is real, like, okay, just flying 20 feet over the ground in an Idris, bro, like, oh, you're hurting my heart. It's like that to me is like taking a Ferrari and using it to like as your golf cart. Like, it's like, what are you doing, man? But the well shot, well placed to the music, entertaining regardless of whether it's legit or not. And I think it probably is legit.
Raymond says it's real.
Oh, it is. It's
It
legit.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the video on how they did it.
Okay.
And
They
had
did
to-
it when they introduced it to. I'm sorry. When they first introduced it with the Eckhart mission.
Yeah. And the way they did it is the guy stood on the outside of another ship. They had somehow subdued it, and he was on another ship standing, and they kind of brought it down, or you had to kill the pilot first you kind of had to shoot, and I forgot you had to clip the gun through the window. And then after you killed the pilot, you were able to you would clip the person, and they would be on the gravity of the other ship of the jump. I think it was a jump they used,
Mhm.
and then they slowly pushed it down until he was through the glass, and then he was able to like jump up and get into the pilot seat.
And I remember all of that. I just didn't. I thought that it had probably been fixed by now, but I guess not.
This I don't know how old the video is when I watched it, but it was a YouTuber or it was another guy on Twitch. I forgot who it was. Wish I could tell
So this one is July 30th this year. So
okay, yeah, because I saw it in July is when I first saw it.
Yeah, this is a break-in that they did during 3.14, and like you said, we've seen in the past where they had got into the Idris before. But this one, what really struck me about this is that usually when people get in the Idris, they fly around in space or something, and do a couple crazy things. But the fact that they shot a lot of footage, even though I laughed at as well, Kai, when it came down to flying right over the surface, but I also did enjoy seeing things like the perspective of the ship when they landed it at the landing pad. You know, you got an idea of scale on this ship, so I thought was pretty cool.
I didn't even know the landing gear worked for the Idris.
Yeah.
Yeah. The B-roll
They
on
had
that
a-
is pretty phenomenal.
They had a video a few years back, and they landed on a planet.
Okay.
Pop, what are your thoughts?
Oh, good to see it. Wish we could get an interior tour, but glad to see it. And
I'm
When
not
it's
sure
the
if I want to
inside,
see
when it's
if I
the
want to see the
inside.
interior because that'd be
Yeah.
spoilers for Squadron 42.
yeah,
Maybe.
I wish you would have used the rail gun.
Yeah, that's true.
think
It might
did.
not work.
Oh, he did?
No, I
Oh,
think
okay.
at that very beginning, that explosion when he's behind the mountain, it's like he fires it into the mountain. You see
Oh,
the
okay.
explosion in front.
And it was
that's
weird.
cool.
It
Let
was
me go
weird
back
too
and
because
look.
you saw the shell actually hang for a second on the side of the mountain
right,
before
yeah.
it exploded.
So I want to know if they're spoiling Sig's fun, because I know they like to tease us with stuff and like that. I want to know if CR had people sit down or something like that and be like, let's talk about what happened here. Huh?
I was gonna say I don't know because believe it or not, there was a video I saw about a week and a half ago. One of the Asian streamers was at Port O, and the devs flew a javelin through there. And they went crazy. It's in our videos thing, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Media
You know,
videos.
and the fact that I mean, to Fastcart's point, we've seen the externals on all these ships before. I mean, we saw the Idris back in 2015, believe it or not. So it's not a new thing for us to see. The interior dynamic, that would be something that we haven't seen before. I know when they did the last was a thing called Invictus. They made sure that
Invictus.
we could not get into the javelin. I know they made a real strong effort of
Mm.
making sure because people were
Mhm.
trying to get into that before.
People did, didn't they? In the year before.
That's what I'm saying. The year before they
Yeah.
did. That's what I'm saying. This last one, they made sure that they said that people couldn't get into it.
I was
Well, you could
disappointed
do
that,
third person.
I was disappointed there
You
weren't
could
any
go-
F8
Oh, third
lightnings
person,
around
yeah.
that we
You could
that
go
we
into
could do
third
this time.
person
Yeah.
on the javelin and go through the interior that was done.
Yep.
So, if they were trying to, that's secret, that they shouldn't let people do that or just put blockers there, like empty space. I mean, they had empty space, but whatever. Yeah, and like what Kai was saying, like I wouldn't be like flying that thing like 10, 15 feet above the surface like this,
Oh, I have a
unless it
question.
could easily be repeated.
I have a question before we get to fish. So what is the 890 doing?
Escorting it because they knew
Flying
what to
upside
bring.
down.
Because they knew what to bring.
All right,
It's
face to
flying
face with
upside
this
down.
on.
It's pretty cool though.
They
You know
might
what though?
have brought it for a sense of scale. To be honest with you.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
what I thought to
Yeah.
try to show how big it is.
Mhm.
But I like it. One of the things though that kind of pointed out to me, came to my mind was since we had the ISC today and talking about gold standard, I wonder what the gold standard is going to be for this ship.
Which one, the Idris?
The Idris.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even know what the Idris looks like, and I'm sure it'll be much further along. A lot of the gold standard is going back to ships that they've had out for a while.
Yeah, like the 2015
bringing them
models.
up to scale. The newer the ship, the closer it is to the metrics being right. But like those ships that they're talking about, like the Gladius, the Retaliator, those are a lot of the earlier ships when those
Right.
came out. Metrics wasn't even. They didn't have the metrics together yet, basically.
But I'm just kind of thinking about, having to go out there and if you were on an Idris, having to go out there to repair all of the components and also you talk like you said so on the video, your 890 jump, when that gets, it's
Well,
gold
if you
standard.
if you notice this, Fist, on all the new ships, all the stuff's built in already.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? On those earlier ships, like where a lot of components are now, back in the early days, there was just a space there, or there was a placeholder there. They didn't even have the components built out. Now, when you get a new ship like an MSR or whatever it is, the stuff is in there already. And for the newer ships, even like the M2s, it's physicalized. So my point is that the measure for gold standard is going to be much smaller for those ships versus the older ones where they've got to literally go back and redo, maybe make corridor. Like for example, on the Retaliator, one of the things that they said they have to do with it now is make the corridors wider for NPC playing. You see what I'm saying? There's things like that they actually physically have to adjust in those ships, those older ones. Where in the newer ones, the metrics are in place and they kind of know what they have to do. So there will be some work, like you're saying, but it won't be extensive. Those ships are going to come out really close to being the way they should be.
You know what I'm noticing here is they actually broke the railgun. If you see it, and some of the ground shots, like it's missing the railgun, and some of them actually have it.
It fell off.
And you have to look for it.
That's probably why you don't fly it 20 feet off the ground.
Right.
Like right there, it's missing. It's just kind of like the holder portion. See it? Yeah, that's just the holder portion right there. It's missing it, and the other
brings
ones
new
are.
meaning to the Batmobile launcher wheel.
This thing is massive. It's pretty big. It's very big.
Very
That's
cool.
what she said.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So next up we have a preview for Sunday's show, the Starfarer Industrial Strength. We're gonna have Dark Knight, Griffin, and Gigi, Green-Eyed Gale, on for Sunday. So join us at 8 p.m. Eastern, 8/22, August 22nd. That is, and on Stolen Citizen on Twitch and in YouTube because Griffin double streams on YouTube and Twitch, so you can check us out on both at the same time. What are your thoughts, Griff?
Yeah, just a continuation of the series we're doing on the industrial ships. Starfarer is one of the first ones we got back in the day, and we're going to talk about its potential. Folks are kind of excited about it. We're seeing this whole thing with refueling coming up, so we should be having a good conversation about it.
And before I get to the merchandise, Griffin, are you looking for someone to raid? Okay. Before I get to merchandise, I want to thank the Astropub and Yacht Club for co-hosting with us on Bar Citizen. I forgot to mention that earlier when we talked about Bar Citizen. So my mistake. I'm rectifying that now. But if you want to buy our merch, check our link down below. We have T-shirts. I'm wearing one right now. It's very comfortable. We have mugs and gamepads. Check us out on our social media, Instagram, YouTube, and SoundCloud. And make sure you give us a like and subscribe to us. Thank you, because those really help. And I want to thank Admiral Kusanagi, Face to Face, Kaizen, Neurosis Puddle, and Poppin Face for joining us today. And thanks to everybody who is watching and commenting in Twitch chat. We appreciate it. Thank you.
It's fun as always.
Hey, can I pop?
Thanks for having me.
I just want to say real quick, for you guys that are listening now, make an appointment to see this Sunday show. And also go back and look through, because the Soul Citizen industrial highlight, or whatever you want to call it, on the Orion a couple weeks back, I thought was like the best breakdown of the conceptual and what the history of it and what we want and what we hope for and what we fear and all of that stuff. So I'm really looking forward to the Sunday Starfarer show.
All right.
Well, as Elvis would say, thank you very much. And you know, by the way,
joke tonight.
Yeah, we're going to be tomorrow. We're going to be hanging out with Kai Zen, DK, and I, Dark Knight, and I. Dark Knight, I hope you got my message earlier. We're going to be on with Kai. Why don't you tell everybody about the show tomorrow? What's going to be going on?
Sure. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to do Black Sky Legion, and we're going to have as our honored guests Griff and Dark Knight, and the invitation is still open. Fast card.
Okay.
If I understand you're busy.
You made me a promise. If you get Terry Heiberg, I'm there. I'll be there tomorrow. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. So we're gonna have the guys in, and we're gonna talk about all things space and gaming, Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous, No Man's Ski, and we're just gonna have a great time chilling with the fellas.
Awesome.
All
We
right.
appreciate that. We look forward to being there with you guys.
Who
All
are we
right.
rating?
We are rating Ginger Bomb. Ginger Bomb.
Okay, so give him our love, and I want to say peace.
Give her our love.
Sorry, my bad. Give her our love, and I want to say peace, love, and soul. And remember, I'm a comedy legend. Don't forget.
Oh, Lord.
God help us all. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.